My selfish sister set her engagement party on my graduation day, and my family skipped mine, telling me, "Your diploma means nothing compared to her ring." Later that night, they publicly mocked my useless degree. Little did they know, a month later, I was invited to an event that left them begging at my door. "You're still upset about that," my mom said over the phone, sounding impatient. "It's not like a college degree is that important compared to your sister getting engaged. People get degrees all the time." "You chose her ring over my future," I said quietly, my voice breaking before I could stop it. There was a pause. Then she said, half laughing, "Honestly, Monica, it's not like your environmental science degree is going to change the world. Don't be so dramatic." I hung up. I stared at the blank wall of my apartment, heart sinking lower than it had in years. That was the moment I realized I was completely alone. I guess to most people, it might seem silly to hold a grudge over a missed graduation. But it wasn't just the ceremony. It was everything that came with it, the dismissiveness, the cruelty, the way they laughed at my dreams as if they were nothing. I'm Monica Harrington, 24, living in a crummy one-bedroom apartment in Portland, Maine. I don't come from money. I fought for every inch of my education, late nights studying in libraries, working weekends at a diner, giving up summers to intern unpaid just to get a foot in the door. My graduation was supposed to be a symbol of all of that work finally paying off. Instead, my family made it clear, a shiny ring on Delilah's finger mattered more than everything I had built for myself. Delilah is 22, my younger sister by 2 years, and has always been the star in my parents' eyes. Blonde, bubbly, effortlessly charming, she coasted through life on sheer likability while I drowned myself in textbooks. And somehow, they saw her sparkle as more valuable than any degree I could ever earn. 3 weeks before my graduation date, Delilah called me, breathless with excitement, to announce she and her boyfriend Blake had gotten engaged. I congratulated her, genuinely happy. I even helped her brainstorm party ideas, suggesting places, colors, themes. Then she dropped the explosive. The party was set for June 5 at 2 p.m. The exact same day, and nearly the same time, as my graduation ceremony. At first, I thought maybe she forgot. It had to be a mistake. I called my mom immediately, expecting her to say it was an oversight, that they'd fix it. But all she said was, "It's not a big deal, honey. Family will be at Delilah's party. We can't be 2 places at once." The words hit harder than I expected. They weren't even pretending to care. I tried to reason with them. Couldn't they come to my ceremony and then the party afterward? It wasn't far, 15 minutes from the campus to the venue. Delilah's party would last hours anyway. But Mom dismissed me with a cold laugh. Delilah's day is more important. Engagements are once in a lifetime. I asked Dad if he'd at least try to be there, but he said, "You'll have more graduations, right? Masters, maybe even a PhD. But Delilah only gets engaged once." I think that's when something inside me cracked, not all at once, but like a hairline fracture you don't notice until the whole structure collapses. Graduation day came. I walked across that stage in a gown that didn't fit right, holding a diploma that felt heavier than it should have. I scanned the crowd for familiar faces. Nothing. Just rows of strangers. My roommate, Holly, waved and hollered my name. Her boyfriend took a blurry picture of me smiling too hard, trying to make it look like I wasn't dying inside. Afterward, we went to a local diner. I treated myself to a milkshake and a greasy burger, pretending it was exactly how I wanted to celebrate. My phone buzzed all through dinner. Photos from the engagement party. Delilah twirling in a white lace dress. Mom and Dad grinning at a 3-tiered cake. A video of my Uncle Stuart giving a toast, "Here's to Delilah and Blake. May their love be everlasting. And to Monica, may her environmental science degree be as useful as a screen door on a submarine." The room erupted into laughter. I watched my mother, my father, my cousins, all laughing. At me. Publicly. That night, I cried until my head throbbed. I didn't talk to them for weeks. I couldn't. Every time I thought about reaching out, I remembered their laughter. I remembered how easily they had chosen Delilah's ring over my entire future. In the meantime, I threw myself into job hunting. I sent out dozens of applications, polished my resume until it shined. Rejection after rejection piled up, but I refused to let it break me. Then one day, an email landed in my inbox that changed everything. EcoFuture International, a leading nonprofit focused on environmental conservation, had read an article I'd co-authored during college. They were impressed. They invited me to a private environmental summit in Boston, an event attended by major organizations, politicians, and press. I could hardly breathe when I read the email. Me. The girl they said was wasting her time. The summit was a whirlwind. I met directors, senators, CEOs. I gave a short presentation about coastal erosion in Maine, something I'd researched for years but never thought anyone outside my university would care about. On the last night, there was a formal dinner. And during that dinner, they announced a special award, the Young Innovators Award. My name was called. I walked up to the stage, shaking, clutching the heavy glass plaque as cameras flashed around me. The governor of Massachusetts shook my hand. Newspapers printed my photo the next day. My family? They saw everything. I didn't even have to reach out to them. The moment the photos hit local news websites, the moment a clip of me speaking at the summit went semi-viral on Facebook, my family came crawling. It started with a text from my mom, "Sweetheart, your father and I are so proud of you. Your work is changing the world." Then from my dad, "Incredible job, Monica. Let's plan a big family dinner to celebrate you." Even Delilah jumped in, "OMG, so cool. Hey, random question, do you think you could introduce Blake to some of the people you met? Might help his business." No apology. No mention of what had happened. Just sweeping it under the rug like it never mattered. I didn't answer right away. I couldn't. I sat on my old, stained couch and stared at my phone for a long time, feeling a weird hollowness where excitement should have been. For the first time, I wasn't desperate for their approval. I had built something real on my own. I had proof that my dreams weren't foolish. I wasn't sure if I even wanted to let them back into my life. 2 days later, they showed up at my apartment. No warning, no invitation, just a knock at the door while I was eating leftover pizza in sweatpants. I cracked the door open and there they were, my mom holding a shiny gift bag, my dad wearing a sheepish smile, Delilah behind them in oversized sunglasses like some kind of reality TV star. They all started talking at once. "We're so sorry we missed your graduation. We didn't realize how important it was to you. You have to understand, Delilah's engagement was such a big deal. Families make mistakes, right?" I listened. I didn't move. Part of me wanted to scream. Another part of me just felt tired. Mom thrust the gift bag toward me. Inside was a card, "So proud of you," with glittery letters and a Starbucks gift card. $50. $50 for 4 years of blood, sweat, and tears. I guess I must have made some kind of face, because my mom's smile faltered. "Don't be like this, Monica. We're trying. We're here now." I swallowed hard. "You're here now because you saw my face on the news." The words hung in the air, heavy and uncomfortable. Delilah laughed awkwardly. "Come on, it's not like that. We're family." Family. That word again. Used like a shield against any wrongdoing. Like blood was supposed to wash away betrayal. I let them inside, mostly because I didn't want my neighbors hearing everything. They perched awkwardly on the edge of my thrift store couch, looking around at the cluttered, tiny apartment like it was a museum of mistakes. Mom talked the most, apologizing in circles without ever really saying the words that mattered. Dad nodded along. Delilah scrolled on her phone. At one point, Mom said, "We just didn't realize college was that big of a deal for you." As if my graduation had been some quirky hobby I'd picked up and abandoned. I told them about how it felt, standing there alone while strangers clapped. How it felt to open my phone and see videos of them laughing at me. Finally, my dad sighed heavily and said, "We were wrong. We get it. But you're doing so well now. Isn't that what matters? Isn't that what matters?" They didn't get it. They never would. It wasn't just about doing well. It was about being treated like I mattered, even when there weren't awards or newspaper articles or moments to brag about. I wanted them to care when no one else was looking. In the following weeks, they kept trying. Texts, calls, little gifts dropped off at my door. At first, I ignored them. Then I started answering, short and polite but distant. I didn't have the energy for long conversations. I didn't have the trust to be vulnerable anymore. Delilah invited me to her bridal shower. I declined. Mom asked if I'd help pick out flowers for the wedding. I said I was busy. Dad offered to get me in with one of his golfing buddies at a local firm, as if I needed him to fix things for me. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't vengeful. But I was different now. And they didn't seem to understand that the old Monica, the one desperate for scraps of affection, was gone. It's strange, the way success reveals people's true colors. When I was struggling, my family laughed at me. When I succeeded, they wanted to be part of the glow. But they didn't want the hard parts, the sleepless nights, the failures, the loneliness. They wanted the highlight reel. Meanwhile, my life was moving forward in ways I never could have predicted. EcoFuture International offered me a full-time role after the summit, not just any role, but a leadership position for coastal initiatives in New England. It came with a salary I never dreamed of earning at 24, full benefits, and a relocation package if I wanted to move closer to Boston. I accepted immediately. Packing up my tiny apartment felt surreal. Every box I taped shut was like closing a chapter of my life where I begged people to see me, to value me. I didn't tell my family I was moving. Not at first. They found out through Facebook, when I posted a picture of my new apartment key. Cue the meltdown. The comments started rolling in within an hour of my post. Heart emojis from old classmates. "So proud of you," messages from professors. Congratulations from people I hadn't spoken to in years. And then the text messages. Mostly from my mom. "Where are you moving? Why didn't you tell us? We would have helped you pack. Don't make a huge decision like this without consulting family." Family. Again with that word. At first, I ignored the messages. I told myself they didn't deserve answers, not after the way they treated me. But part of me, the old dutiful daughter part, still felt that knot of guilt tightening in my chest. I could hear my mother's voice in my head, "You're being ungrateful. You're punishing us." A week later, they showed up again. This time, it was just Mom and Dad, no Delilah. I opened the door just a crack and saw Mom standing there, clutching a pie wrapped in foil like it was some kind of peace offering. "We just want to talk," she said. "Please, Monica. Don't shut us out." I let them in because honestly, I was too tired to argue. We sat in my half-packed living room. Boxes everywhere. Suitcases zipped up and waiting. It must have hit them then, how serious I was. How far gone I already was. Mom started crying almost immediately. "We didn't know how much we hurt you," she said, dabbing at her eyes with a crumpled tissue. "You're doing so well now. We want to be part of it." Dad just sat there, staring at the floor like he wished he were anywhere else. "You should have been part of it from the beginning," I said, my voice low. "When there weren't awards. When it wasn't glamorous." Mom sniffled. "We made a mistake. We're trying to fix it." I didn't say anything. I didn't know what to say that wouldn't come out sounding bitter. I wasn't sure forgiveness was something I even wanted to offer anymore. After a while, Mom switched tactics. "Delilah really wants you at the wedding," she said. "She asked specifically for you. She misses her sister." I almost laughed. Missed me? She hadn't called once after that night they mocked me. She hadn't even texted congratulations after the summit award. I think my silence must have said everything because Mom quickly added, she knows she was wrong too. She's just embarrassed. It's hard for her to admit. The idea of going to the wedding, standing beside them as if nothing had happened, made my stomach turn. They wanted the Instagram version of me, smiling, supportive, picture perfect. Not the real me. Not the me who had clawed her way through loneliness and heartbreak to stand where I was now. I told them I'd think about it. It wasn't a lie. I genuinely needed time to figure out whether showing up would be healing or humiliating. In the meantime, my new life was blooming faster than I could have imagined. Work at EcoFuture was intense but fulfilling. I traveled up and down the New England coast, working on restoration projects, meeting with local communities, even giving occasional guest lectures at universities. I found myself again, or maybe, I found myself for the first time. I made friends, real ones. People who didn't care how shiny my life looked from the outside. People who showed up for me without being asked. And the further I moved into this new life, the smaller and smaller my family's approval felt. It was like realizing you'd been trying to squeeze yourself into a pair of shoes that never actually fit, and now you were finally barefoot and breathing. Then came the formal wedding invitation in the mail. Heavy cardstock. Gold foil lettering. Delilah and Blake, in all caps, as if they were royalty. A handwritten note from Delilah tucked inside, Monica, it would mean so much to have you there. I know things have been weird, but you're my sister and I love you. Please say yes. There was a guilt trip hidden between every line. But it was the weird that stuck with me. As if what happened had been some awkward misunderstanding, a minor inconvenience, and not a full betrayal. Around the same time, Blake started following me on LinkedIn and sending little congratulatory messages. Saw your article on sea level rise, super impressive. By the way, would love to pick your brains sometime about networking in the nonprofit world. Might help me land some clients. Winking face. Of course. Of course, it wasn't just love. It was opportunity. They wanted my presence because it made them look good. They wanted my connections because they could benefit from them. I put the invitation on my fridge and stared at it every morning for a week. Some mornings, I felt a pang of nostalgia, memories of Delilah and me as kids, building sandcastles at Old Orchard Beach, trading Halloween candy under the covers with a flashlight. Other mornings, I felt a cold, clean anger. They hadn't chosen me when it mattered. Why should I choose them now? The final straw came 2 weeks before the wedding. Mom called me, voice sugary sweet, the way she got when she was about to ask for something. Honey, she said, I was thinking, since you're doing so well now, maybe you could say a few words at the wedding reception? You know, a little speech about family, perseverance, how proud you are of Delilah. I almost dropped the phone. A speech. They wanted me to stand up, in front of all their friends and relatives, and paint over everything that had happened with some heartwarming lie. Mom mistook my silence for hesitation. It would mean so much to her. To all of us. That night, I lay awake for hours staring at the ceiling, thinking about it. Thinking about the lonely walk across the graduation stage. Thinking about the laughter. Thinking about the pie, the Starbucks gift card, the empty apologies. And I made a decision. The morning of Delilah's wedding dawned gray and humid, a sticky July day in Portland where even the breeze felt exhausted. I sat at my new kitchen table, sipping coffee, the RSVP card in one hand. Instead of accept with pleasure, I simply wrote in steady, clean letters, decline with gratitude. I slid the card back into the return envelope and dropped it into the mailbox on my way to work. No ceremony. No speech. No picture-perfect family photo to post on social media. No public blessing to smooth over the cracks they had made. I would not be part of their fantasy. I spent the wedding day exactly how I wanted, kayaking along the coast, breathing in salt air, letting the sun bake away the last bits of guilt and sadness. No texts. No calls. I turned my phone off completely. The fallout came fast. When I finally turned my phone back on, there were messages waiting. Long rants from Mom about how selfish I was. How embarrassed they were when people asked where I was. How Delilah had cried because her big sister didn't even care enough to show up. There was a voicemail from Dad, gruff and disappointed. "Family is about showing up when it matters, Monica." I sat on my couch listening, feeling strangely calm. They wanted me to pretend everything was fine for their sake. When I didn't play along, it exposed the truth they didn't want to face, that they had lost me long before the wedding invitations were ever printed. 3 weeks later, life handed me the final, unexpected cherry on top. EcoFuture announced they were launching a new initiative focused on coastal real estate sustainability, partnering with local businesses to create environmentally sound practices for waterfront properties. Guess who had just bought a waterfront property? Blake. Delilah's new husband. Through a few mutual contacts, I found out Blake had been counting on this project to boost his reputation and land some big money clients. He had been bragging at the wedding about how connected he was now that his sister-in-law was a big name in environmental circles. Except, he wasn't actually connected to me at all. One day, Blake cold emailed me, dripping with fake friendliness. "Hey Monica. Hope you're doing amazing. Would love to grab coffee and chat about some cool real estate ideas I had. Maybe you can introduce me to the EcoFuture team?" I read the email twice, smiling a little. For the first time in months, I didn't feel hurt or bitter. I just felt free. I didn't reply. Instead, I forwarded the email to our partnerships team with a short note: "Conflict of interest, would prefer not to work with this contact due to personal history." Professional, clean, final. EcoFuture dropped Blake's inquiry without a second thought. He was never even considered. Later, through the grapevine, I heard he struggled to get into the sustainability project. Lost a few important client deals because of it, too. Without my silent endorsement, his shiny reputation dulled a little. No cruelty. No public drama. Just a closed door he didn't even realize I had the power to shut. A month after that, Delilah called me herself. I let it go to voicemail. Her message was tearful, begging for a sit-down, for a heart-to-heart. Telling me she missed me. That we were sisters, and nothing should ever come between that. I sat there for a long time, the phone cool in my hand. Once, that plea would have shattered me. Once, I would have run back, eager to patch everything up, desperate to be loved. But not anymore. I had built a life where I didn't need to beg anyone for space at the table. I had built my own damn table. I never called her back. Not out of hate. Not even out of anger. Out of self-respect. Some bridges, once burned, aren't meant to be rebuilt. And sometimes, the best revenge isn't yelling, or fighting, or grand, cinematic takedowns. Sometimes, the best revenge is simply moving on so completely, so joyfully, that the people who doubted you are left standing in the ashes of the life they threw away.